Revelation 1594. From the 2nd of September 1940. Coming time of suffering. Purpose of the announcement. The state of suffering on earth is still increasing and people can expect immense misery, hardship and worries. And this has to be the case, for without it people will not find God. A time will come which is as difficult as people have never experienced before. All hope will fade, all courage will dwindle and humanity will be under the greatest pressure, caused by unspeakable suffering, illnesses and tribulations of every kind. And yet, all this can be endured with firm faith in God, for where the human being does not walk alone but has made God his confidant, God will also always be present. And the adversity will not depress him and he will not feel the great suffering in such a way. Yet only a few will draw strength and comfort from God, only a few will use the divine word as a source of strength and only a few will be spared by trusting in God's help through his will. For faith has been lost, it is a time of complete apostasy from God. And therefore the Lord knocks on the hearts of his earthly children again. He makes himself known through his word and announces the difficult time and the battle on earth to them, and he will accept all who come to him in this adversity and appeal for his help. He takes care of his children's adversity himself by using all conceivable means to inform people of the coming time as a time of terror and misery. He does not want people to be taken unawares by fate. He wants them to unite with him beforehand in order to be able to avert the great suffering from them. He wants to win his creatures for himself but not grant the adversary power over them. And therefore he announces the difficult time beforehand and instructs those who want to hear his word. He is full of kindness and gentleness and only wants to speak to his children in love. But they do not hear the kind and loving words and therefore he has to show his power so that people will fear him and then learn to love him. He has to reveal himself to them as Lord of creation so that they will acknowledge him as ruler and appeal for his love. But where people believe the proof of his power is not necessary, for love has already awakened there, and love fulfills what God demands. God's love is unchanging. It will always and constantly apply to his children who are in danger of losing themselves. And this love rings around your souls, it seeks to make itself known, and anyone who lives in love himself will also recognize divine love. He will recognize the loving guidance through all terrors and sufferings of the coming time, and he will trustingly hand himself over to the eternal love and await this time without fear and trepidation. And the Lord will remember them when the time comes. He will carefully guide them through it, he will let all adversity pass them by, he will strengthen and comfort them where they are anxious and fearful, and he will make himself known in the greatest adversity. For the Father in heaven knows his own and has promised them his protection that all suffering will be taken away from them if they lift their hands to him in prayer. The human being only has to believe in God's love, kindness and mercy. And he must lead a righteous way of life. He must always strive for good and avoid evil, he must persevere in heartfelt prayer and faithfully expect God's help. Then he will emerge from the time of tribulation unharmed in body and soul, for God is close to all who recognize him, love him and childlike trustingly hand themselves over to him and appeal for his grace. Amen.